So another important thing to remember, the way slide works, how many of you have experience playing the slide? That would be two. Well, you're part of the show, so you doesn't count. So it's 2 people. It's important to use your slide right above the fret, the metal piece. If you use it to the left or to the right of it, it's not going to produce the same sound as if you were to press on it. Because instead of a fixed position, that's what frets give you. Inaccurate locations of the slide will jeopardize this melodic flow. So that's why you'll see Steve playing a song and he'll be looking at you while he's doing open, and then he's about to switch to the 5th fret and he's looking at it, you know, because you got, otherwise it's never ending. It's like violin. Violin has no frets, so it's also very important for violin players to have like a perfect hearing. The same with trombone, you know, because they're sliding up and down, and there is no fixed location that is going to slide and click, and that's going to be that note. That's why it takes so long to.
Great, that's a great thing.
Good analogy.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah, the trombone or violin or cello or upright bass, you know, the fretless instruments, you know, you'll often see fretless bass. That's why you very rarely will see a fretless guitar. And actually, in certain cigar boxes, like the one you gave me, I borrowed from you to learn for this Cigar Box Festival, Cigar Box Guitar Festival, has a very poor action. And in industry, a poor action means that the strings are very high from the fretboard, and this part is called the fretboard. So what happens is, the higher up, the higher. You see, in the guitar playing world, we use different terms to describe location. So this would be going higher, and this would be going lower. So the higher up in the neck you go, the more the resistance you'll meet, because the strings are so high up the neck, and then you lose intonation. So instead of the accurate note, it will be something like something off. And with a cigar box guitar like that, you use frets only as a reference. You never ever rarely push down. Are there going to be any questions as I proceed further? There's no question. Steve is switching something with the.
What would happen if all of a sudden you're in the key of A right now and somebody asked you to play in the key of D? What would you do?
I would grab the different cigar box guitar, most likely, or you can simply change the tuning. So what you would need to change. Yes, please.
Can you put a capo on?
Capo. You could put it. Let's try that. Let's find out. Seems to sound okay. So it's going to get really confusing if you're going to try to apply the same dot markings that you used here. So you just have to envision the blueprint that you used. So imagine when you were playing open, imagine that the capo was right here. So everything that you were doing just moved up this far. So your 3rd is here, your 5th fret is here, your 7th fret will become here, and the 12th is somewhere down the line. I don't know where yet, but we're gonna find out. So it worked. It worked. It actually worked. I never tried that before. This is my first time playing a cigar box guitar with a capo. And now the capo is on the mic stand. So now Dave Beaton said, show him how to play. Show him. What did he say? Russian?
Middle East.
Eastern European. Now, funny enough, I mean, look at it. You know, this instrument was made by, you know, in 1800s by these newcomers from Ireland and other places, right, that settled in the United States, and they didn't have money to build instruments. Is that right, Steve?
Yes, you are absolutely correct.
So imagine worlds apart, many national instruments. They usually have 3 or 4 strings about this size, and they just are a different shape. So like mandolin, you know, it's like a shape of a teardrop or a ball. In Russia, we have balalaika, literally the same thing, but shaped as a triangle. You know, it's like they got together sometime in 1600s and picked geometrical shapes, and Russians says, oh, we're gonna be the triangle, and then Irish Americans said, oh, we're gonna be the square, you know, and then the Italians said, we're gonna be the circle. I thought it was funny. Right?
Who did the parallelogram?
Right. I don't know. You would know that. So, in order to play Eastern European, you got to know scales. Now, what are scales? It's not something that you know, check your diet progress on. It's the various cultural scales. So, very common scale for blues is a pentatonic scale. Now, how many of you still following me? Still know what I'm talking about? 1, 2. That's good. That's about 10% of the audience. That's better than any voting poll. Yeah, and or any lottery in that sense too. You know, so when I was describing to you that, you know, you got to pay attention to the 5th fret and the 7th and the 10th and the 12th. And the 3rd, depending on your key, whether it's minor or major. All of these different locations are notes within the pentatonic scale. So just for the purpose of simplicity, I didn't even went that far to say that it's pentatonic scale. But that's how it sounds. That's what they're using. They're using this chromatic. You can use it as to step down or go travel up within your song. Very common in blues. Is that right, Steve? I'm using you as my confirmation for what I'm saying. That's funny. So there are many other scales that are common for various geographical regions, and the pentatonic scale is very common in Asia, and you can kind of hear the pattern in the like a Chinese folk music. Also in Africa, which that's where it came from, to the United States. With a sad story. We're not going to focus on that. Was like completely changed by all these other influences, and just by these Irish people that had nothing to do with blues or pentatonic scale. They built this instrument in the 1800s, and then somebody else picks it up. I'm sure they didn't play the slide at the time, because slide comes from the Hawaiian guitar, which is another part of the world, and then you can see this this weird recipe that produced this specific cultural phenomena that we have cigar box guitar, and very known to play blues on it. And it's really weird when you look at the retrospective of how many cultural transitions it had to go through. And you can use a minor scale, harmonic minor. How many of you know what that is? And that's where I lost you. So let me just give you a demonstration, and I'll try to dissect of what I did. Dave's looking at me. What is doing? All right, something like that.